Hello, everybody. It's Jen Bengal here from Out of This World Literacy, and I'm excited to bring another Facebook Live to you tonight as part of our third annual summer series on Facebook Live. So far this year, we've covered a lot of topics. If you haven't caught up yet, you can check out the calendar here. See all of the topics today. If you're watching this as a replay, it's June 19th, so we've already covered a ton of topics. You can go into the video section on my Facebook page and watch any of these as replays. We talked about mini lessons, how to write mini lessons. I went over a reading conference. We talked about taking notes with anecdotal notes and my system for that. We went over what a Squircle was. We talked about how to spot fake readers in the classroom, ways to get everyone writing. So there's a ton of topics here. I talked about guided reading, what guided reading is, what guided reading is not. And last night I talked about what a reader's notebook is. Hi, Rebecca. So glad you made it again for another live. Hi, Liz. Welcome back. I love all the people who stop by to watch this live on a regular basis. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. Love the waves. Say hello to me if you're just joining. Yesterday I went over a reader's notebook and what's inside of here. I'm just going to quickly tell you there's 4 tabs. One is books I've read. One is mini lessons. The third one is reading responses, and the fourth one is reading letters. So if you want to know what's inside of here, you'll just have to go back and listen to the Facebook Live that I did last night, which was the June 18th one on the Reader's Notebook. So tonight we're going to continue talking about the Reader's Notebook, and I'm actually going to give you a sample lesson of what I would do at the beginning of the year to launch a Reader's Notebook. Hello, Cecile. I'm glad you made it on here live. So I'm just going to give you a mini lesson statement. And FYI, if you've been watching these lives, hi, Julie. Each day I have a little bit of notes for you. So these are actually in my TPT store. I have a Facebook Live set of notes for you. So every live that I'm doing, you can see those there. And I'll put a link in the comment section when I get done. But if you actually want my notes, you can download those for free. You don't have to pay for them or anything. They're just all of my notes. So you can kind of get a collection. Maybe if you want to share with your administrators that you've been coming to these lives over the summer and getting different tips, you can print them off and put them in a binder and take them to your admin. They might think that that's pretty cool. So I'll put the link to that in the comments when I get off the live. But you can download all of my notes for free. So tonight is all about a lesson to launch your Reader's Notebook. So if you're just starting out using Reader's Notebooks, or maybe you want to ramp up how you introduce them to your class, then this is going to be a great lesson for you. You know, it's one thing to go, okay, boys and girls, this year we're going to have Reader's Notebooks. Here's what they look like. Here you go, and you get started. Well, that's not really a great way to launch Reader's Notebooks, is it? Because you can't really get them very excited about Reader's Notebooks when you do it that way. So I came up with a mini lesson that has worked really well for me in the past, and it goes like this. Readers keep a Reader's Notebook so that they can keep a record of all their learning. And if you want all of the language for this, it's in my notes in that free download I'll put a link to. But it says something like that. So I'll take an anchor chart and I'll write with a Sharpie on the top of the anchor chart ahead of time before class starts. Readers keep a notebook so they can keep a record of all of their learning. And then when I sit down with my class, I get them really excited about their Reader's Notebooks. And I say, boys and girls, we have something really special we're going to be doing. And it's so important all year long. We have this thing called a Reader's Notebook. And you may have used these before in classes that you've been in different grade levels. But this year we're going to use them every single day. They're going to be so important and special to us because we're going to keep all of our learning in here. Sometimes when we learn something on a Monday, we might forget what we did by Friday or the next week or the next month, but not this year, not with a Reader's Notebook. We're going to have all of our learning in one spot. So it's like in our brain and in our notebook. How cool is that? And so I kind of use language like that to get them excited about a Reader's Notebook. And then I taught to them about how in order to have a Reader's Notebook that works well for us throughout the year, we have to come up with a system. We have to have some routines. I like routines. It helps me feel safe. It helps me feel like I know what's coming next, and so I can focus on what I'm doing now. And I like to have a routine. We're going to do that with a Reader's Notebook. So we're going to get a nice, awesome routine, but I need your help. I need you to help me figure out what our routine should be for our Reader's Notebooks. Let's start brainstorming together of a list of ideas that we can come up with that might be a really good routine for our Reader's Notebooks. we're going to use them every day. So do you think we should bring our notebooks when we come to every mini lesson? And the kids will all say, yeah, 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 yeah. So I'll write that on our anchor chart and we'll just start making a list. So the first thing might be, we're going to bring our notebooks to every mini lesson. So that's the expectation right off the bat. And then I'll say, can you think of anything else we might need to do? Maybe we'll need to bring it at the end of workshop too, when we have a share. So we'll say we bring our notebooks to the share. And then I'll show them where we're going to keep the notebooks throughout the year. Now, for me, personally, in my experience, I've learned that I don't let the kids keep their notebooks in their desk, because if you have messy kids, like I did every single year, the notebooks would get mangled and tore up in their desks, or they'd get lost, or they're half hanging out of their desks, or they'd be in their locker or cubby or somewhere else. And so many times when we were starting the reader's workshop, we would be all at the carpet except those 3 kids are digging through their desks looking for their notebook. And we waste the first 5 minutes of our workshop time waiting for those 3 kids to come to the carpet with their notebooks. So I created a system to keep the notebooks all in one spot throughout the year. I'll show the kids that. What I did was I've done it a couple ways. I've had magazine files where their reader's notebook sits in the magazine file in the back of the room. I'll just line them up and number the bins so every student has a number. That way you can reuse them year after year instead of using their names. That works really well. You can also have like black plastic bins on counters where every student has a slot, and you put their reader's notebook and their writer's notebook in that slot. And then when it's time for reader's notebook or reader's workshop, they go get their reader's notebook and come to the carpet. At the end, they take their reader's notebook and they put it back in that bin and then go back to their desk. So it's always in the same spot. It's not in their desk getting all messy and full of markers and highlighters and a mess. So find a spot outside of their desk to house the notebooks, and then tell them about where that's going to be when you're in this lesson. So your notebook routines so far are going to be that you're going to bring the notebook to every mini lesson. You're going to bring the notebook to the share at the end, and then you're going to have your notebooks in a special bin that you'll use all year long. So you can talk about that during this lesson. And then I say I don't want them to bring their notebooks home because they're so special to us throughout the year. Giving them the chance to bring them home just opens up a huge window of opportunity to losing them. Because if they lose this notebook, that's like losing everything we've worked on that year. And if I send it home, it's fair game. It can get lost in 2 seconds. So I never, ever let them take their notebooks home until the last day of school. And I make a big deal out of it on the last day of school. Like, you finally get to take your notebook home. Oh my goodness, make sure you don't lose it on the bus or keep it somewhere really safe. And then another thing I tell them is that we're going to put a date on every entry. So every time we write in our notebooks, we're going to put the date. So we talk about what that looks like, what the date's going to look like, where it's going to go on the page. And then we talk about how we want to use our best handwriting in our notebooks, because if we can't read what we're writing in our notebooks, then there's really no point in having that information in there. And I always tell my kids when they have messy handwriting, one of the things I do is I'll say, can you read that to me so we can learn together? And they'll start reading, and almost every time they don't even know what their own writing is. And I'll say, I think it's pretty hard for me to read your handwriting if you can't read your own. So we talk about using really good handwriting. We also talk about not skipping pages. So sometimes in the past, I've learned the hard way that kids they'll start their notebook out and then they'll be like, oh, they just flip to like a random page in that section and start writing. And they have like 40 pages of blank pages. And then those are the kids that go to me. They say, Mrs. Bengal, it's October 31st. It's like Halloween. They're jacked up on candy anyways. And they say, I ran out of notebook space. I don't have any notebook space in my reader's notebook. And I'll go and I'll look at their reader's notebook, and there's like 25 blank pages of nothingness in the middle of a section. And so one of the things I did to fix that problem, now, I wouldn't do that with a big 3-subject notebook, but one of the things I did do is I numbered the pages. I hired out my kids. I bribed them with candy, my personal kids, and had them write page numbers on the bottom. So that way, one year I could keep track of what pages we were on, and I could tell the kids, you should be on about page 20 today in your notebooks. And that worked really well for me. It's just time consuming up front. But if you've got people in your life that like to do really boring things, like husbands or boyfriends or girlfriends or wives that wouldn't mind sitting and numbering pages in notebooks on the bottom, let them do it. Let them totally do it. Also, if anyone has an idea of coming out with notebooks that actually have page numbers on the bottom, they're going to make $1 billion, because I don't know why notebooks don't have page numbers on the bottom of them. It would be just a miracle for teachers everywhere, but they don't. So one of the other things that we talk about is to be proud of your notebooks. We talk about how important our notebooks are, because it's where we put all of our very important thinking, and that we should really take a lot of pride in our notebooks. And that's something we talk about all year long as well as readers. The things that they're putting in here is something that's very important. All of their hard learning and thinking goes in here, and we want to value and honor that too. So if we see somebody's notebook accidentally in the wrong spot, we'll return it to them right away. If we see a notebook that's displaced, or when we're walking around with our notebooks, we're not walking around like this with our notebooks, as we're coming to the carpet. We practice all of these things so that we can be the best readers we are, and we don't waste any time when we come to the carpet, when we start mini lessons every day. So I do this lesson at the beginning of the year, and if you just came in somewhere in the middle, you can listen to the replay. I also have all of my notes on TPT for you for all of these Facebook Lives, and I'm going to pop a link for that. It's a free download. You can get all of my notes for this whole series on TPT too. So I'll put a link for that in too. But we practice actually going through this routine. The more you practice at the beginning of the year, the more you establish routines, you establish boundaries with your students, the more successful they're going to be, the less classroom management and behavior problems you're going to have. Kids need routine. They crave it. They need boundaries. They crave them. But also getting them to help you create those boundaries and those routines will help motivate them to actually follow through with them as well. It will make them feel invested in the daily work that you're going to be doing. It's not just Mrs. Bengal's telling you to do this because these are the rules and we have to do this. I'm letting them help me make them. Of course, I'm manipulating them and guiding them through the whole thing, but I'm letting them help me, and we practice this so that everybody has a clear expectation of how we're going to use our notebooks and all that jazz. So that's kind of my little spiel on how I launch my readers' notebooks. That's one of the things that I do. I actually do a lot more than that, and I'm going to talk about that in my live webinar on June 30th. I'm doing a live webinar on the reading and writing workshop on June 30th. I'm going to go over how I set up my classroom library, the reader's notebook, the writer's notebook. I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 lessons each for readers' notebooks and writers' notebooks, launching them. You'll get those for free. And I'm going to talk about my daily schedule for Reader's Workshop, Writer's Workshop, what that looks like and everything. So you can always register for my free webinars. They're live. So it's like you got to come on that time to watch it. And it'll be June 30th, the Readers and Writers Workshop one. It's a Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. So you can check the jenbengalwebinars.com to register for that. And like I said, I don't have the link right now for all of my notes, but I will pop it in. If anyone wants to go to my TPT store and see if you can find it, you'll get like bonus points for that or something. But basically what I'm talking about is all of these notes for every date. You can see it says June 19th at the top, which is today. So I have all of my notes for all of the Facebook Lives that I've been doing. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing the writer's notebook. So I talked about the reader's notebook yesterday and what's inside of it. Today I gave you a little lesson on launching your reader's notebook. Tomorrow I'm going to show you the writer's notebook. And then on Thursday, I'll show you a lesson for launching the writer's notebook. You're welcome, Jackie. Hi, Megan. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Rebecca. She's laughing. Sometimes I see your comments as they're scrolling by. Other times, it's hard to talk and keep your train of thought while scrolling through and reading comments too. But I do go back and read them. So thank you guys all for commenting. Let's see. I think that's all I have for you tonight. But tomorrow night, again, like I said, I'm going to be live tomorrow. I'm not at night. I'm going to be live tomorrow in the afternoon. About 2 o'clock I'll be live, because tomorrow night I'm actually hosting my first Read Aloud webinar, interactive Read Aloud webinar. There's Over 1,000 teachers signed up for that webinar tomorrow night. Isn't that awesome? So if you're signed up, please come because there's only a limited amount of space in the room. So get there about 15 minutes early. I have enough space for everybody that's signed up now. Usually not everybody comes that signs up, but if everybody showed up, we would run out of room. So make sure if you're coming to the Interactive Read Aloud webinar that you get there about 15 minutes early. You get a link that goes to your email, and that's the link to get you into the webinar. I'll turn it on about a half hour early at 7 tomorrow night, p.m. Central, but it'll officially will start at 7:30 p.m. And I added some really cool stuff to it today, so I'm really excited about it. I've got a bunch of freebies. Of course, I have all of my notes written out for you too for that webinar and a certificate, so you'll get all that if you come. So that one's going to be about interactive read alouds. Hi, Tammy. She said I'm signed up for that one. Woohoo! Thank you, Angel. Hi, Catherine. See you at the Facebook Live and webinar tomorrow. Woo, woo. Awesome. Hello, Jennifer. Cannot wait. The webinar is going to be so good. If you're a Lifetime member, I recorded it yesterday and put it in the Lifetime group today. So Lifetime members can watch it already. But tomorrow night, it'll be live for the first time. I'm super excited about it. So that means that I'll be live tomorrow at 2. So 2 p.m. Central, I'll be live talking about the Writer's Notebook, and then 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night will be the Read Aloud webinar. So I'll be excited to share both of those with you tomorrow. I wish you a really good rest of your evening, and I am going to head out and go kiss some kids goodnight. But I hope you have a good rest of your evening, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye.